Iran's new president, Ebrahim Raisi, has been sworn into office following his election victory in June. Mr. Raisi, a hardline cleric, succeeds Hassan Rouhani, seen in the West as a relative moderate. It comes at a time of growing challenges for Iran, whose economy has been crippled by US-led sanctions. There are also heightened tensions with foreign powers who have blamed Iran for a deadly drone attack on a tanker near Oman last week, which Iran has denied. 2 people, British and Romanian security guards, were killed when the MV Mercer Street, operated by an Israeli-owned company, was struck. Britain, the US, and Israel accused Iran of carrying it out. Tensions with the US have soared since 2018, when then-President Donald Trump pulled out of a multilateral deal over Iran's nuclear program and restored sanctions. On Tuesday, Mr. Raisi promised his new government would try to lift oppressive sanctions, but would not tie the nation's standard of living to the will of foreigners. Thorny negotiations were taking place in Vienna between Iran and other countries which are still part of the agreement to try to revive the frayed deal and lift sanctions. However, the talks have been on hold for several weeks. The battered economy has led to growing discontent among ordinary Iranians, who have seen a sharp rise in the cost of living. Iran has also blamed US sanctions for an acute shortage of medicines. Alongside the economic crisis, Iran is battling the coronavirus pandemic. It is the worst-hit country in the region and has recorded its highest number of cases for the past 3 days running. Iran has also been rocked by a wave of street protests in the southwest, triggered in part by severe water shortages. Mr. Raisi's election came amid a record low turnout, with many Iranians either boycotting the polls or not voting out of apathy or disillusionment. The 60-year-old is close to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and has been touted as a possible successor. A former judiciary chief, Mr. Raisi has been heavily criticized over his human rights record.
Campaign groups have accused him of involvement in the executions of thousands of political prisoners in 1988. Mr. Raisi was one of 4 judges who sat on secret tribunals that came to be known as the Death Committee, which condemned the prisoners to death. He has said the sentences were justified because then Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini had issued a fatwa, or religious ruling. The US imposed sanctions on Mr. Raisi in 2019 for alleged human rights abuses.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.